She stood in the rain outside his glass tower, one hand pressed against her stomach, the other clutching a crumpled ultrasound image. And when their eyes met through the window, she saw something she'd never seen before. Fear in a man who feared nothing. Adana's fingers ached from scrubbing the marble floors of the hotel lobby. Her knees pressed into the cold stone, her back hunched in the posture of invisible people, the ones guests never truly see. She was 26, but felt older. Lagos seemed like another lifetime, though it had only been 2 years since she'd left her mother's small house with promises to return rich. Rich. The word tasted bitter now. She wrung the rag into the bucket, dirty water swirling like her thoughts. Rent was due. Her phone held 3 missed calls from home. Her little sister needed school fees. Adana had come to Seoul chasing dreams sold by social media. K-dramas, K-pop, the glittering promise of a country that didn't want people like her. She stood, pressing a hand to her lower back. The uniform was too tight now. She'd noticed it last week. Across the city, in a penthouse wrapped in glass and silence, Kang Ji-hoon stood before a wall of monitors. Security footage flickered across the screens. Warehouses, shipping docks, men in black suits exchanging briefcases. His empire, built on shadows and blood, hummed efficiently beneath the surface of Seoul's polished exterior. He was 34, untouchable, feared, and completely alone. Ji-hoon's reflection stared back at him from the dark window. Sharp jaw, cold eyes. His father had built this kingdom. Ji-hoon had fortified it. But lately the walls felt less like protection and more like a tomb. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. He poured whiskey into a crystal glass, the amber liquid catching the city lights below. Somewhere in that sprawl of neon and noise, people loved freely, laughed without calculating risk, touched without wondering if it was a trap. He couldn't remember the last time someone had touched him without wanting something. The memory came unbidden. 3 months ago. A hotel? A business meeting that ran late? And a woman with warm brown skin and eyes like midnight who'd smiled at him in the elevator. Not the practiced smile of someone who recognized his name. A real smile. He'd followed her. They'd talked. Laughed. For one night, he wasn't Kang Ji-hoon, the Ice King of Seoul's underworld. He was just him. He drained the glass. He hadn't seen her since. Have you ever met someone who made you forget who you were supposed to be, even for just a moment? Drop a comment below. The pharmacy was closing when Adana finally gathered the courage to buy the test. Her hands trembled as she placed it on the counter. The clerk didn't look up, just scanned and bagged it with mechanical indifference. In her tiny studio apartment, she sat on the bathroom floor, the test face down on the sink. 5 minutes felt like 5 hours. The fluorescent light buzzed. Overhead. A cockroach skittered across the tile. She flipped it over. 2 lines. Adana's breath caught. Her vision blurred. She pressed her back against the cold bathtub, hugging her knees. A sob broke free, then another. Not tears of joy. Tears of terror. She was pregnant. And the father was a man whose last name she'd only learned when she Googled him the morning after. Kang Ji-hoon. The articles painted him in shadows. Alleged ties to organized crime. Business empire built on silence. The untouchable prince of Seoul's underworld. That night 3 months ago had felt like a fairy tale. He'd been kind. Vulnerable, even. They'd walked along the Han River at dawn, sharing street food and stories. He'd told her about his mother, who died when he was 12. She'd told him about her father, who'd worked himself to death so she could go to university. For 6 hours, they were just 2 lonely people finding warmth. Then he'd kissed her. Slowly. Like he was memorizing her. She hadn't heard from him since. Now, staring at the test, Adana knew the truth. She was carrying the child of a man who lived in a world that would never accept her. A man who could erase people with a phone call, but she also knew something else. She was keeping this baby. Her phone buzzed. Rent reminder. Bills. Reality crashing back. She had no idea how she'd survive this, but she would. She always did. She had to tell him. The thought terrified her more than anything, but he deserved to know. Even if he wanted nothing to do with her, even if he offered her money to disappear, he deserved to know he was going to be a father. Adana wiped her tears and stood. Tomorrow she would find him. Tomorrow, everything would change. Ji-hoon's assistant handed him the schedule. Back-to-back meetings. A shipment arriving from Busan. A problem at the casino that required his personal attention. Code for someone skimming money. He signed off on 3 documents without reading them. His mind was elsewhere. The surveillance team had flagged something unusual. A woman had been asking about him at the hotel where he occasionally held meetings. African. Late 20s, persistent. His jaw tightened. It couldn't be her. Sir? His assistant, Minjun, hovered nervously. The woman. She left a message. She says it's urgent, personal. Delete it. Sir, she's been coming every day for a week. Security says, I said delete it. Ji-hoon's voice was ice. Minjun bowed and left quickly. Ji-hoon stood and walked to the window. Seoul stretched before him, a city he controlled from the shadows. He'd built his life on one principle: no weaknesses, no attachments. His father had loved once, and it had nearly destroyed their family when she betrayed them. Love was a liability. That night with Adana had been a mistake. A beautiful, dangerous mistake. He'd spent weeks trying to forget her laugh, the way she'd challenged his cynicism with her stubborn hope, how she'd looked at him like he was worth saving. He'd almost called her a dozen times, but men like him didn't get happy endings. They got blood and silence and empty penthouses. If she was coming to him now, it meant trouble. Money problems, probably. Or blackmail. Everyone wanted something. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I need to see you. It's about that night, please. Adana. His heart seized. He deleted the message. Then he poured himself a drink and tried to convince himself he'd done the right thing. Meanwhile, Adana sat in a cafe across from his building, her second attempt to reach him failing. The receptionist had been polite but firm. Mr. Kang doesn't take unscheduled meetings. She'd left her number, sent a text. Nothing. Her hand moved to her stomach, still flat, but not for long. Fine, she whispered to herself. If you won't see me, I'll make you see me. She wasn't leaving Seoul without answers, even if it meant standing in the rain outside his tower until he looked down. The rain came suddenly, drenching Adana as she stood outside the glass tower. She hadn't planned this, hadn't planned to be this desperate, but after 2 weeks of ignored messages and turned away visits, she was out of options. She held the ultrasound image, now crumpled and wet, against her chest. Inside, Ji-hoon was finishing a meeting when Min-jun burst in, face pale. Sir, you need to see this. The security feed showed her, soaked, trembling, staring up at the building. Something in Ji-hoon's chest cracked. Get her out of there. Sir, she's not leaving. She says she'll stay until you come down. The men in the room exchanged glances. This was unprecedented. No one challenged Kang Ji-hoon, certainly not a foreign woman with nothing to lose. Ji-hoon's hands clenched into fists. Everyone out. They left quickly. He took the elevator down, each floor a countdown to a confrontation he'd been avoiding. When the doors opened to the lobby, he saw her through the glass. Drenched, defiant, and somehow still beautiful. He stepped outside. The rain soaked through his suit immediately. They stood 3 feet apart, the city rushing past them, but it felt like they were the only 2 people in the world. You shouldn't be here, he said quietly. I didn't have a choice. Her voice shook, but her eyes held firm. You wouldn't answer. There's nothing to say. Really? She pulled the ultrasound from her jacket. The image was barely visible through the water damage, but he could make out the shape. Small, fragile, unmistakable. I'm pregnant, Ji-hoon. It's yours. The words hit him like a bullet. His carefully constructed world tilted. That's impossible. Is it? Her laugh was bitter. We spent the night together. You think I'm lying? I think you want money. The slap came fast. His head snapped to the side, the sting sharp against his cheek. I want nothing from you, she hissed. Nothing except the truth. Do you remember that night? Do you remember what you said to me? Did. Every word, every touch. You make me feel human again. Come inside, he said finally, before you catch pneumonia. She hesitated. Please? It was the please that broke her resistance. They went inside together. Ji-hoon's private office was all dark wood and leather, the kind of room that swallowed sound. Adana sat wrapped in his suit jacket, her wet clothes clinging uncomfortably beneath. He poured her tea, set it down without meeting her eyes. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I tried. You disappeared. Her voice was raw. That morning you were gone. No number. No note. Like I was nothing. Guilt twisted in his stomach. It wasn't personal. Wasn't it? She set down the tea. You made me feel seen that night. You told me about your mother, about how you felt trapped in a life you didn't choose. Like, was that a lie? Was I just entertainment? No. The word came out harder than he intended. That night was real. Then why? He turned away, jaw tight. Because men like me don't get to keep good things. We destroy them. I'm not a thing, Ji-hoon. I'm a person. A person who's carrying your child. Silence stretched between them. Tell me about yourself, he said finally. Your real story, not the fairy tale version we told each other that night. Adana's fingers traced the rim of the teacup. I came here with dreams bigger than my bank account. My mother sold her land to pay for my ticket. My father died believing I'd become someone important. Her voice cracked. Instead, I scrub floors. I send money home and lie about how well I'm doing. I eat once a day so my sister can stay in school. She looked up, eyes fierce. This baby wasn't part of the plan, but it's mine. Ours, and I won't apologize for wanting you to care. Ji-hoon's mask was slipping. She could see it, the vulnerability beneath the cold exterior. My father, he began slowly, built this empire on blood. My mother tried to leave him once, tried to take me with her. He found her. She didn't survive the punishment. Adana's breath caught. I was 12, I watched him become a monster, and then I became one too, because it was safer than being weak. He finally met her eyes. I disappeared because I was afraid that if I stayed, I'd ruin you too. You don't get to make that choice for me, she whispered. What would you do if someone tried to protect you by pushing you away? Tell us in the comments. They talked through the night. Ji-hoon learned that Adana sang to herself when she was nervous, that her favorite food was jollof rice and she missed the sound of Lagos traffic, that she'd wanted to be a teacher before poverty redirected her dreams. Adana learned that Ji-hoon played piano, though he hadn't touched one in years, that he read philosophy books he didn't tell anyone about, that beneath the armor he was just a lonely man who'd forgotten how to hope. As dawn broke over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, something shifted. Stay here. Tonight, he said, and you're exhausted. I can't. I have work. I'll handle it. His voice was gentle. Please, let me take care of you just for tonight. She wanted to refuse, wanted to maintain her pride, her independence, but she was so tired. Okay. He led her to a guest room that was bigger than her entire apartment. Clean sheets, soft pillows, a view of the city waking up. Thank you, she whispered. He nodded and turned to leave. Ji-hoon? He paused. That night, did it mean anything to you? His hand tightened on the doorframe. It meant everything. The door closed softly behind him. Over the next week, a strange routine formed. Ji-hoon sent a car for her. She spent evenings in his penthouse and they talked, really talked. About the baby, about fears, about impossible futures. He took her to a private doctor, the best in Seoul. The ultrasound showed a strong heartbeat, and when Adana cried, Ji-hoon's hand found hers. Healthy, the doctor confirmed. Everything looks perfect. In the car afterward, Adana turned to him. I'm scared. Me too. What if I'm a terrible mother? What if... You won't be. His voice was certain. You're the strongest person I've ever met. She laughed through tears. You barely know me. I know enough. Their eyes met, and for a moment the world felt less heavy. That night, he played piano for her, a soft, melancholic piece that made her cry. My mother's favorite song, he explained. It's beautiful. So are you. The words hung between them, fragile and terrifying and true. Everything broke on a Tuesday. Ji-hoon's lieutenant Dong-woo cornered him in his office. The girl is a liability, Hyung. People are talking, asking questions. That's not your concern. It is that when it threatens us. Dongwoo's voice was cold. You're getting soft. Your father would be ashamed. The mention of his father was a deliberate provocation. Get out. She's using you. Can't you see? A desperate immigrant who got pregnant and hit the jackpot. She's probably already planning how to spend your... The punch came fast. Dongwoo stumbled back, blood streaming from his nose. Say one more word about her, Ji-hoon growled, and I'll forget we're family. Dongwoo laughed bitterly. You're already forgetting. You're choosing her over everything we built. Maybe I am. Then you're a fool. Dongwoo left and Ji-hoon stood alone in his office, knuckles bleeding, world tilting. That evening, Adana arrived to find him distant. Cold. What's wrong? This was a mistake. Her stomach dropped. What? Us, this fantasy. It can't work. Ji-hoon, what happened? You need to leave Seoul. He pulled out an envelope. There's money. Enough for you and the baby. Go home. Forget about me. Adana stared at the envelope like it was poison. Is that what you think of me? That I'm here for money? It's better this way. Better for who? Her voice rose. You told me you felt something. You held my hand during the ultrasound. You played me your mother's song. Was that all a lie? It doesn't matter what I feel. His mask was back, cold, impenetrable. I can't give you the life you deserve. You mean you won't? Silence. I came to you with the truth, she said, voice breaking. I could have disappeared, could have raised this baby alone, but I thought you deserved to know. I thought you might actually care. She threw the envelope at his feet. Keep your money. I don't need anything from you. Not anymore. She turned and walked toward the elevator. Adana, don't. She didn't look back. Don't follow me, don't call me, we're done. The elevator doors closed, and Ji-hoon stood frozen, watching the woman he loved disappear. 3 weeks passed in silence. Adana moved to a smaller apartment, took extra shifts, built walls around her heart. At night, she talked to her growing belly. It's just us now, little one, but we'll be okay. We always are. But her dreams were filled with him, his hands, his voice, the way he'd looked at her like she was salvation. Ji-hoon drowned himself in work, expanded the business, made more money, felt more empty. His penthouse echoed with her absence. Dongwoo watched him spiral. Finally, one evening, he spoke. I was wrong, Hyung. Ji-hoon looked up, hollow-eyed. About the girl. About you getting soft. Dongwoo sighed. Our father, he taught us strength through cruelty. But maybe real strength is choosing love even when it's terrifying. It's too late. Is it? Dongwoo pulled out his phone. She's still here, still in Seoul, still carrying your child. Ji-hoon's heart stuttered. You've been watching her? Someone had to. She's working herself to exhaustion. Won't accept help from anyone. Stubborn as hell. He smiled slightly. Reminds me of someone. Ji-hoon stood abruptly. Where is she? Adana was walking home from work, exhausted and aching when she saw him. Standing in the rain, again. Outside her building. This time he was the one waiting. She stopped, heart pounding. He crossed to her slowly, soaked and vulnerable. I'm sorry. That's not enough, she whispered. I know. He dropped to his knees, right there on the wet sidewalk. I was afraid. Afraid I'd destroy you like my father destroyed my mother. Afraid I wasn't capable of being the man you deserved. Tears streamed down her face. But I was wrong, he continued, voice breaking. The only thing destroying me is living without you. Without our child. I don't care about my empire. I don't care about my reputation. I only care about you. Ji-hoon, marry me. He looked up, eyes red. Not because of duty, not because of the baby. Because I love you, because you're the only person who's ever made me want to be better. You hurt me. I know, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it right, if you'll let me. She stood there, rain falling, heart torn between protection and hope. Stand up, she said finally. He did. She took his hand. You get one chance? One. Don't waste it. I won't. 6 months later, Adana stood in Ji-hoon's penthouse, now their home. Her hand rested on her swollen belly as she watched the sunset paint Seoul in gold. Ji-hoon had kept his promise. He'd stepped back from the darker parts of his business, invested in legitimate ventures, used his wealth to help immigrants like Adana find work and housing. He'd even started a foundation in his mother's name. He was becoming the man he'd been too afraid to be. Behind her, she heard his footsteps. You should be resting, she smiled. I've been resting all day. Our daughter won't stop kicking. Daughter? His eyes lit up. You found out? This morning. She turned, taking his hands and placing them on her belly. Say hello to your princess. He dropped to his knees, just like that night in the rain, and pressed his forehead against her stomach. Hello, little one. I'm your appa. And I promise to be better than mine. I promise to love you and your mother with everything I have. The baby kicked, and they both laughed through tears. That evening, Adana's mother called from Lagos via video. She'd been skeptical at first, protective of her daughter, but seeing them together, seeing Ji-hoon's devotion, she'd softened. You look happy, NUAM, her mother said. I am, Mama, really happy. Then I'm happy too. After the call, Adana curled into Ji-hoon's side. I never thought I'd have this, she whispered. A home, a family, love. Neither did I. He kissed her forehead. You saved me, Adana, you and our daughter. We saved each other. 3 months later, in a private hospital room filled with flowers and sunlight, their daughter was born. Perfect. Beautiful. A blend of both their worlds. As Ji-hoon held her for the first time, tears streaming down his face, he remembered that night. The night everything changed. When a woman with kind eyes had smiled at him in an elevator and made him believe in second chances. What should we name her? Adana asked, exhausted and radiant. Ji-hoon looked at his daughter, then at the woman who'd given him everything. Grace, he said. Because that's what you both are. Undeserved grace. Adana smiled. Grace Ji-hoon, perfect. And in that moment, surrounded by love, they knew. Their story had just begun. Love can find you in the most unexpected places. Have you ever experienced an unexpected connection that changed your life? Share your story below, we'd love to hear it.